Tonight, the lines are getting blurrier. President Trump's multi-million-dollar luxury plane from Qatar has Democratic heavyweights now demanding answers or else.
This is not just naked corruption. It is also a grave national security threat. I am announcing a hold on all DOJ political nominees until we get more answers.
Trump is jet-setting across the Middle East right now, stopping in Saudi Arabia before heading to Qatar and the United Arab Emirates. It is a region where the Trump family business ties have more than tripled since his first term. That's according to a new CNN report. In fact, Trump's family is doing billions in business in all three countries that he is visiting this week. But what if this were a Democrat? Well, let Don Jr. tell you from back in the day.
I wish my name was Hunter Biden. I could go abroad, make millions off of my father's presidency.
Which seems to be exactly what's happening right now, and no one seems to care.
No, I mean, at least of all their own party. Although actually Laura Loomer and Ben Shapiro and when Laura Loomer and Ben Shapiro agree with Chuck Schumer, you know you are in an upside down world, right? That this idea of this $400 million luxury aircraft, which, by the way, there are estimates that suggest it would cost the American taxpayers about $1 billion with a B dollars to actually, because you have to take it apart, put in all the security measures and put it back together. And it probably wouldn't be done by 2029 is basically what they're saying. Look, the grift of the Trump family, we saw it on display in the first term. We're seeing it on display in this term. It's not just the deals, just before Trump does his trip to the Middle East, his sons were over there cutting deals, their cryptocurrency business, the deals that he's doing with the Qataris around these Gulf resorts, the minimum bid, $500,000 club in Georgetown that's coming, right? So that you can, literally they're advertising it as you can hobnob with members of the administration. I mean, look, politics is ugly and dirty, and it shouldn't be that way. We know it is that way. But it's now just at a point where he's normalizing just immoral behavior. And it used to be in our values that we said, no, that was not okay. But when even his own party won't stand up to him, can't stand up to him, well, this is what we're left with.
So according to our reporting, some of the deals going on right now, Saudi Arabia, 2 luxury towers, Live Golf Partnership, Qatar, Golf Club and Villas, UAE, luxury hotel, cryptocurrency deal, Oman, resort and golf project.
And the dinner.
I mean this sincerely. I mean, does it bother you that this is happening at the same time that these nation states are also trying to curry favor with Trump himself?
Well, it doesn't really bother me that people are in business for years, then their dad gets elected president, and then they continue to go on in business. We knew we were electing a businessman president. We knew his family was in business. So I think the American people have full visibility into that. Number 2.
But we're talking about new deals here, not existing
well, they're business
deals,
people. They're cutting deals all the time.
You're okay with them cutting deals while Trump is sitting in the White House when he's going over there
countries that
to
are
negotiate
actively
with them?
doing negotiations with
We're negotiating with every country in the world every day. Well, let me answer your question, the specific criticism about Hunter Biden. All the things you just mentioned, towers, golf courses, hotels, resorts, tangible things.
Cryptocurrency and meme coins, Scott, don't forget those.
You do something, money exchanges hands, a service is provided, a tower is built, a golf course is developed. Can you name one tangible service other than finger paintings that Hunter Biden provided for any money but change hands?
I do think that is a fair critique of the Hunter Biden of it all. But you're not addressing the fact that in all of these countries, in order to do any of these things, they have to go to the political leadership of the countries to get them approved. That doesn't address that at all.
Abby, at 10:07, Scott was telling me how the biggest modern day conspiracy we've had in terms of a president, scandal, was Joe Biden and his health. And he said that, and then he criticized Chuck Schumer, right, about the fact that he didn't have any character because he didn't stand up to it. But at 10:27, 10:28, the argument has changed, because what we do know is that there is a $400 million jet from Qatar. What we do know is that there is a $5.5 million golf course in Qatar. What we do know is what Syria is offering Donald Trump. And what we do know is that the things that are happening in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, buying meme coins that mean absolutely nothing. The fact is, and I would love for Scott to be able to answer this question, but for the fact, and that's when I didn't really do well in law school, but I remember but for the fact Donald Trump is president of the United States, none of this would happen. And so that is what you call a kleptocracy. And so when you have children, and no, and 1 second, Kevin, because you wanted to talk about you wanted to talk about Kamala Harris being mediocre. Donald Trump Jr. and what's the other one? Eric are the definition of what mediocre is. And what I'm saying is that now they are reaping the benefits of their father.
In a different direction?
Please.
Just for a moment, please.
No, guide me. I'm blind.
What does this have to do with Middle East policy? Please, just a moment.
Oh, no, please.
Excuse me.
Oh, yes,
what does this have to do with the fact that he is trying to create a circle of friendship with the fastest growing geographies in the world before China does?
But wait a second.
Wait, let me finish.
Well,
on this trip, I just want to introduce an idea. This has nothing to do with policy.
Go ahead. I'm locked in.
What does this have to do with policy?
One thing that I've heard for the last 4 or 5 years is anytime anyone had any criticism of the United States foreign policy in Gaza or whatever, is that these people would be being paid by a resource-rich government that propped up and funded terrorism, which was over in Qatar. Every single time. They were buying influence in Ivy League schools. They were buying influence in social media. They were buying influence everywhere. So anytime you saw somebody that you were saying that anytime somebody was thought to have any dealings with the Qataris, they were thought as being intellectually and morally tainted. Except the President of the United States, who takes a $400 million plane from them, literally is refurbishing it to be Air Force One.
Who cares about the plane? What does that have to do with the fact?
Because it's
Wait a second.
You know what?
I don't get it. Why focus on something that is irrelevant to the policy
It's
of
not
the region?
irrelevant.
It's completely irrelevant.
How is it irrelevant?
Would you rather have the Chinese there, or would you rather have them there?
Kevin, the United States Constitution would like to have a word. The United States Constitution would like to have a word. That's why people care, right?
People care because
the
of the
reason that that's in the Constitution is to prevent the President of the United States from accepting things that are being perceived as bribes.
What is the national interest of this trip?
The goal of the trip is not to get a giant gift that he can say belongs to him as president, but then he takes with him when he leaves the office.
Abby, you have to distance yourself from Trump derangement syndrome. It's irrelevant to policy. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
what matters is, why are all these AI guys on this trip?
Have you heard of the emoluments clause?
Wait. Why do you have all the leaders?
Kevin, no, seriously, it's a serious question. Have you heard of the emoluments clause? Do you understand that that is in the Constitution?
He doesn't. No.
And do you understand that even if you think that maybe it might be okay,
how many fairies dance on a pin does not do policy.
Incredibly dubious.
So let me ask you a question.
That, right?
I'm sorry.
Let me just say, but Kevin doesn't operate by the same morals and ethics and values that we're talking about.
I'm above that. I focus on
because
policy.
You're so rich, you get to be above it.
It's nothing to do with wealth. It's policy.
No, but here's the point about the policy. Let me make one point, fellas. Whew. If someone is willing to take a $400 million plane from a government, that the kinds of things that Van was talking about, people have, even Ted Cruz had some issues with this. What else is he willing to do? And Scott, you're talking about these tangible things. Meme coins are not tangible. They're nothing. Cryptocurrency is nothing. There is a bidding war going on right now with governments and countries and companies. We have no idea what their alignments are to buy enough meme coins to buy access to our president.
There was a story tonight in the New York Times about a very mysterious company that bought hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Trump meme coins with links to China. So, there are some real questions and concerns about the money that is being made here.
The emoluments thing you raised, it's a good question. It's a legitimate debating point, and I assume it'll ultimately be tested in court. The administration has a point of view on it. I assume they're going to be sued, or I don't know how you would get it into court on this, but my assumption is ultimately the Supreme Court is the only people who can give us some arbitration on this. So I assume that's where it's
You're
headed.
talking about the plane?
All right,
what
all
about
right. We gotta hold on. We gotta
what about a plane?
we gotta
It's a
leave it
national
there.
security issue.
And yes, when it comes to the Constitution, the Supreme Court does give a hoot about that. Coming up next, Donald Trump delivers a new philosophy about America's enemies, one that Republicans once blasted Barack Obama about. We'll debate.